I'm pleased to welcome you to our event this afternoon. Before we begin, I will ask you to turn off your cell phones and put them away. Please also stay until the program is completed. We will have a question and answer segment. During that segment, I encourage you to ask any follow-up questions as time permits. Our mission here at the Trulaske College of Business is focused on student preparation. Pairing industry experts with our students is an ideal way to learn about the many paths of success that are available to you. We find business partners and alumni to share advice and insights to help you to consider the many different paths available to you. Our speakers also provide frontline insights into industry trends, issues, practices, and examples of how to turn challenges into opportunities. We are grateful that they're willing to share their wisdom with us. Today, we will hear from Rachel Tobin of Bank of America. Rachel is a 25-year veteran of the banking industry. She launched her career after graduating from the University of Missouri with both a Bachelor's of Science in Business Administration and an MBA. She began her career at Interbank First of Dallas in a professional development program. Today, she serves as Senior Vice President for Bank of America Merrill Lynch Dealer Financial Services. In that position, she leads a successful team that sells credit solutions to auto and specialty banking clients throughout the United States. Throughout her career, Rachel has worked on and led diverse teams. She appreciates the advantages of various perspectives. We are pleased to hear from her today as she shares her insights into those successes. Please join me in welcoming Rachel to Trulaske College of Business today.
I apparently did not wear the right clothing today to get hooked up to the machines, so I'm going to look like Frank Sinatra, I think, carrying the big mic today. You guys do know Frank Sinatra, please tell me. So when I went to school here, and it's been a while, I would go to the football games every Saturday, and there was this woman who looked really, really old to me at the time, and she was probably 40, which is really young. But she would come, and she was dressed in this, it was a jumpsuit with bright tiger stripes, and she had this headband on, and I mean, it was just really obnoxious, and I remember thinking, oh my God, I hope I'm never like that. But then I went out and I bought this tiger dress, and I'm like, I'm wearing that to Mizzou, so it happens. So it is fun to be here. It's fun to dress up like a tiger, and I would tell you my entire basement is in black and gold stripes, so it's a little over the top, but I've been successful with that too. So anyway, I am delighted to be here today. As Dean Ferris said, I graduated here about 30 years ago, so it's been a very long time, and have been in the workforce. Actually started with Interfirst Bank of Dallas, which ultimately became Bank of America. So I've had a long career basically with the same bank, just lots of different business cards. And it's been a great home for me. So happy to share some of that information with you today. I also wanted to talk a little bit just about diversity and women in banking. I spend a lot of time in the bank looking at those things and where we are and where we need to be. So I want to talk to you about that. A little disappointed, guys, that you're all sitting in the back, you know, and the guy with the green tie, I mean, you're standing out anyway. You ought to move down. So, but any questions that I have, I will call out to the back row. I got a bit of a bum foot, so I can't walk up there. But thanks to you who ventured a little closer. So, as mentioned, I tried to combine our logos, but we have the logo police at Bank of America, so I couldn't do that. But happy to be here representing Bank of America Merrill Lynch today. As Dean Ferris mentioned, I've been with the bank. It's actually more than 25 years. I'm coming up on 28 years that I've been with the bank in various positions, and always happily represented the University of Missouri while I've been there, an outspoken person for the university over that time. So I started thinking about, well, why am I here today? I came from Atlanta. I took 3 days out of my schedule to come here today. And so you're thinking, well, why am I here? Well, my family believes that I'm here to go to the football game on Saturday, and honestly, okay, that didn't hurt, right? But honestly, I'm here today, and it just so happens that I get to be here on a professional mission, but I'm here today because I love the University of Missouri. And I want to give back. And I hope that in coming here today, that maybe one or two of you will be interested in a path that was similar to what I took, and maybe it would be a place for you. And so I really wanted to come back and make that connection today. So I couldn't blend the logos, but that's really what it's about for me today. And I hope that we can do that. I hope that this is a way that I can give back to the university that I love. And that perhaps tomorrow we find the next CEO of Bank of America, because I need to hire some folks, and I'm committed to hiring from the University of Missouri. So that's the passion of why I'm here today. In my head, of course, I'm here to do a job. The bank's paying for me to be here today. They paid for my travel. They're going to pay for my Shakespeare's Pizza tonight, or whatever it is that is still around, right? I can go to, okay. Good. So, but I am here because we need to hire the best and the brightest folks that are out there. And I believe that they are here. And frankly, I had the opportunity to meet with a group of students that came to my office in Atlanta last year, and we were blown away. I had a couple of my teammates that were with us, and the questions that were asked were so insightful and thoughtful, and frankly, better than the University of Texas, and they were better than Emory, and well, of course, right? So I'm like, wow, we need to find some folks from the University of Missouri. So I'm committed to doing that, and that's why I'm here today. So I do have to tell you a little bit about Bank of America. And I am very proud to work for Bank of America. It's been a terrific place for me to have a career. So I always tell people you need to find something that suits your personality in terms of where you go to work, right? Because you've got to get up 10,000 mornings and go to work. That's a 40-year career. So it better suit your personality. So Bank of America has suited my personality extremely well. And I found a great home there, and I found a great bridge there. So it's obviously, we're a huge organization. I work on the commercial side of the bank, but as you can see in some of these numbers, we have 48 million consumer and small business relationships, 17 million mobile banking users, 114 billion in Merrill Edge clients, $2.5 trillion in wealth management. I still cannot wrap my head around $1 trillion. But we're obviously a huge, huge bank. We can solve any financial need that you might have, that your customers might have, that anybody you know in the world might have. Bank of America can do that. So we're a huge organization. It was probably appealing to me just as this university was, right? It's a big school. It provided needed structure for me, and that was a great place for me to start, I think much like the university, but I did like the big institution part of it. So as you are considering your career, some of the same things as you considered when you went to school. Do you want to go to a big place? Do you want to go to a boutique place? But I tell you, once if you like the big organization and you like some structure to your life, if you go to Bank of America or any of these international banks, you can go just about anywhere you want. I'm focused on the commercial side of the bank, and this is a breakdown of some of what that is, but you can, I was talking to a group of students at lunch, and really you can go about anywhere that you want. If you want to take a lot of risk with the hopes of making a lot of money, you can go on the investment side of our bank. If you want something a little safer or maybe completely safe and you want to be in compliance and sit in a back room and check boxes, we need people like that. if you want to be out entertaining clients and trying to get people to borrow money from you or have you place their bonds or whatever, we can have you out entertaining. And some of the tannest people I know are people that I work with who seem to play golf every single day. So it is a huge mix of opportunity. You can work retail and manage a branch and open accounts for the individuals in your neighborhood. You can manage small businesses. You can work with Fortune 500 companies. You can work on the trading floor. So if you have an affinity for numbers, which I'm going to guess many of you do, and you like a big institution, it should be something that you consider. And it's been a terrific place for me. I have found a great home there. So here's an outline a little bit about what global banking is at Bank of America. And we are part of the wholesale credit. So the job that I do is actually debt. So I provide credit to commercial entities. And my business is actually focused on the automobile segment, primarily vehicle dealers. So I've actually got a couple of clients in Colombia. We are looking at providing some financing for Joe Mawkins, who's reorganizing his business at this point. So hopefully we will be able to bring some money into that business. Also, I have a client who's a graduate of the University of Missouri, and I think to go to football games, he bought the local Kia store. So we provided the financing for him as well. So I'll tell you what, people love this place. Again, a little bit more just about the global banking side. And the reason that I'm highlighting some of these slides is because I am interviewing some folks tomorrow. Anybody signed up for an interview? Just one? But this is the part of the bank that we are interviewing for, is the corporate bank. And Matt, I think we've still got a couple openings if anybody's... Okay, good. So let us know if you want to talk tomorrow. But we're looking at we're looking to fill positions in the global bank. The gentleman's joining me from St. Louis. He and I have 6 positions that we need to fill for next June. And these would be positions in my group in Atlanta and Dallas, and he's got some positions in the middle market bank in St. Louis. But we're also looking to fill positions throughout the country for the global corporate banks. So there's positions in Seattle and LA and New York and Tampa and Atlanta and Charlotte and Chicago. So guys, it's a good time to graduate, for sure. So, huge part of the bank. I mean, again, it's kind of hard to wrap your head around some of these numbers, but $8.4 billion in revenue, $2.6 billion in net income, and this is just in the first half of the year. So it is a huge portion of the bank. If Bank of America is doing well and they're not getting hit with a lot of legal fees, right, or having to settle something with the government, we should make about $5 billion a quarter, is where we should come in. So you can see a good portion of that is coming from the corporate bank. Deposits, $292 billion worth of deposits from our clients. Loans and leases of $307 billion. And those are the bad guys over there. So I say that, but honestly, these are terrific institutions as well. We trade people a lot, I would tell you. We've got a lot of people right now that are leading Bank of America who are from Goldman Sachs. So we're friendly enemies, perhaps, I don't know. Wholesale credit, and this is really a little bit more just about the job and the job description that we're looking for. So again, I am very interested, and if you've got questions about this, very interested in meeting up with some folks who are interested in a career in banking, who would like to talk about this. I've got some time today, if we can still fill a couple slots for tomorrow, or I will leave you a business card if you've got interest in talking about that. But I was telling Dean Ferris, I said, I don't have time to mess around. We got to get some good kids. We got to get the greatest students. So really a terrific program, a great way to enter into the workforce because we've got a big enough group that you can come in, and we actually do a lot of training. So you would join the bank the end of June, 1st of July, and you do a fair amount of on-the-job training, but there's also focused training that we've got in Charlotte that I think what they're going to do next year is set up for a month that you would do training in Charlotte, just really to learn how we look at numbers, what are some of the key things that we look at when we're making a loan decision. And you would do this with a group of a couple of hundred other students who have just graduated. Most of them are undergraduate students. A few of them have work experience, most of them don't. But a great opportunity to enter into the bank still in a learning environment before you get placed. So a great investment for the bank, an extremely important investment for the bank as we look to our future. And again, I would love my legacy at Bank of America to be that I hired the next CEO. Because I don't think I'm going to be the next CEO. So, any questions, thoughts? Interest? The guy with the green tie? Huh? No? Maybe not? Yes?
Mrs. Tobin, there were a couple of slides ago, I'll just speak loudly. A couple of slides ago, there was a bunch of statistics regarding Bank of America. One of them was that you have relationships with 98% of the Fortune 1,000 companies out there. I was wondering what Bank of America is doing to capture that last 2%. Really impressive.
That's not good enough, is it, right? That's only 5 sigma, I think is what that is. You know what, that's a great question. And we are not satisfied with 98%, so that is even a better question. Because we've got to do something to get that last 2%. We want everybody to bank with us, right? We are actually, our philosophy this year, and this is not always our philosophy, but it is to do more with more. And so we are in the process of actually hiring more salespeople. To get out, to be out there. We are very competitive in our product offering. We have incredibly creative, intellectual people that come out and bring solutions to the clients. We are everywhere. We've got people in every country, not quite every continent, right? I mean, there's a couple where if there's a penguin there, we're probably not there, okay? But it's not for lack of trying. So very, very aggressive to get business. And we'd love them all. So maybe the answer is, and I'll have to check, maybe 2% of them actually weren't doing very well, and maybe it was them, not us. I don't know. But great question, because we want everybody's business. We would like everybody's business. Some big numbers, huh? Any other questions about the bank? Yes.
Okay. I see the organization structures and their global banking, and also I see a couple of different segments. And my question is that how we collaborate with the other internal department. I mean, we may serve the same country clients, but we may in a different product line. We are we're on Friday, and they are investment banking, and they may make the deal. But we serve the same clients, and also as well how we collaborate with the other segment in the other countries. And we have a friend who was vice president in Shanghai brand, also Bank of America. How we collaborate with the other branch to serve maybe the multinational corporates.
So, certainly a big focus for us because the future is international. Right. I mean, you've got to be very focused on what's going on internationally, because that's where we're going to find the growth, where the population is, where enormous growth in economies is going to come, is where we need to be, and we need to be positioned. So we've had tremendous collaboration, particularly in China. And we had a big investment in that bank. Unfortunately, when we got hit with some huge fees after the recession, we ended up having to sell a big portion of our investment in that bank. But we still have a great presence in China. Obviously, tremendous interest in where the economy is in China. And so interesting because there's so many parts of the bank that provide different financial solutions internationally, domestically, debt, equity, whatever you might need in terms of managing your balance sheet. And we try to be very collaborative. Not only that, but we've got our personal banking. So when we go out and we want to finance Joe Mockin's business, well, we want to finance Joe Mockin's too, right? And we want to take care of everything for them. And we've got those capabilities. Collaboration is a little more difficult, right? The cultural differences and the legal differences build some walls for us that we're always having to break down. So we have to bring in more partners when we collaborate overseas. Seems incredibly difficult for us, but I think it's just because we're so used to being able to do things easily. We've got the routine down domestically. So it's something that we're working very hard on. Very clear that that's where we're going to have to be the greatest bank in the future. So we continue to do that. The other thing is that their regulators keep a watchful eye on what we're doing to make sure that there's no funny business going on, right? So we've got to make sure that we're following all the laws and the rules, and that we're not doing anything that we shouldn't do with the deposits that you have entrusted in us that we turn around and lend out. So I don't know if that answered your question, but yeah, international is incredibly important for us. Yes, sir.
Hi. You mentioned that your personality really fits Bank of America. Can you talk a little bit more about your company's culture and why that is?
Yeah, I can. And I think, I think it's been interesting because when I came into the bank, and this may actually be a nice segue as to where I'm going, but I mean, when I came into the bank, I was one of the very few women that came into the bank. And so oftentimes it felt awkward to me. I was young, I was the only woman, I went to these meetings, and literally I was the only woman there, and I was 28 years old, and it was very intimidating for me at times. I think I found my way with some of that, and I also find that I like really smart people that find solutions, who are quick thinkers, and I'm surrounded by them, and I always have been. But I do think over time I have even become more comfortable and found a better home at the bank, because we have taken a very strong approach toward diversity, and so I don't feel like we're necessarily just out there to make money, and no bones about it, we are there to make money. I mean, we are there for our shareholders, and we absolutely have to do that, and that is top of mind for us. But we do it in a way that we provide a great environment for people to come into work. And I, in particular, am very focused on providing not just a diverse environment, but an inclusive environment. And I think those things are very different. But welcoming ideas, welcoming people from a different place, welcoming this new generation who's come up in such a different culture than we have, welcoming the international environment. And we spend enormous efforts in doing that. Interesting, and it was 10 years ago that there was a woman that I worked with, and I think she was feeling the same way that I did oftentimes, and was the only woman in a lot of meetings, and she had been moved up to a leadership position, but really just wanted to connect with some women. And so she created what she called the Power of 10. And so she brought in 10 women from across the bank. And once a month, they would just get together and they would talk about their challenges as women. That now encompasses 36,000 women across the bank. It has grown over the course of the 10 years. It has given a voice for that group. So to the extent that they've expanded some of these groups, so we have groups, Power of 10 groups in the Hispanic community and the Asian communities, just to bring those voices together, to have a greater awareness in the bank for that. So that suits my personality well. I also, again, it's been great to work with a lot of clients who are the American dream, and we're a part of that. And in a way, it's the American dream for me and my family too, to have been able to do that and have a career and have success in watching these very successful people make their businesses work and being part of those solutions is terrific for me. And it's the passion that I bring every day. Every day there's something new, there's something different, and it's always fresh. And there's new ideas. So we just hired a bunch of kids from Emory. Sorry, I had to, but and they've started. And so my deal with them is that they're going to keep me up to date on what app I should have on my phone, because I have no clue. And then I'm going to teach them how to make loans. So really, you just get to make such great connections with so many people. It really is terrific. So I found that environment, not perfect, but better. But always challenging. Any other questions, thoughts? I love the culture question. We actually just started up a group within my organization called the Culture Club. So talking about ways that, we ask people to work pretty hard, right? And there are times when we ask people to work really hard, and just making it a good environment for people to come into work, where they're challenged, where they have a voice. So that said, I do have 2 personal goals. I've got lots of business goals, right? I got to grow revenue, I got to grow loans. My asset quality has to be at certain levels, and that's how I get paid at the end of the year. But I've got 2 personal goals, and one is to bring one of you back with me to Atlanta, or bring you to St. Louis, or bring you to Dallas, and come to work for the bank. I want to make a bridge between Mizzou and Bank of America. My second goal is to do better for women at Bank of America. So we've done some work. It's better than when I started, okay? So if you go back and you look back in 1980, who was alive in 1980? Anybody? Oh, thank God. Okay, good. All right. So in 1980, only half of the women participated in the workforce, compared to nearly 80% of men. Women earned 55 cents for every dollar that a man earned, and that's in the same position. And 6% less women than men had bachelor's degrees, okay? So that was kind of the work environment that I entered into. Today, women have more education than their counterparts. We're doing better on the wage gap, but we're not there. There's still some work to do. We still need to break some barriers to make that better. And millennial women are more concerned with their career success than millennial men. How about that? Have you guys seen these statistics before? So we've made great progress. Right? These are all good numbers. This is just some information about the bank. And this is what got me fired up, right? 27% of the board of directors are women. U.S. officers and managers who are female, 47%, and the workforce is 60%. Just when you look at the percentages in terms of where we are, and the bank will give you lots of statistics, and they really look pretty good. In fact, the majority of the people that work at Bank of America are women, but most of them are working in the branches, and that's where we've got a huge number of our employees. So as you move up, you start to lose women. So they're when you get to the very top, it's not a number that I'm proud of, actually. And this shows that information. So just 19% of the very top executives are women. And so I'm here to ask you, here's another reason why I'm here, to make that number better. I think I only have like 2,000 more days that I'm going to get up and go to work. You guys have got 10. I don't know that I'm not sure that I'm going to move the needle too much in the next 2,000 work days. But we've still got some work to do. We've still got some work to do. So I really wanted to talk about it a little bit, about the importance of breaking down barriers and the barriers that are in place, and not just for women, right? But from a diversity standpoint, I would tell you that the numbers are not that good, that women have made more strides than minorities in many of these numbers. And so we need to do some work on that. And you know, you think about the impact of breaking down barriers. And you know, I remember I had a great aunt tell me that in the 1940s she was a big baseball fan, but women were not allowed to go to baseball games. Did you know that? 1940s, women were not allowed to go to baseball games. And then they started having a Women's Day on Wednesdays for day games women could go. Well, you know, the Cardinals are going to pull in $3.5 million people this year, and that would not happen with women. But it took breaking down that barrier for that to happen. Some of these things seem almost impossible to me, right? But it is a matter of breaking down barriers. Do you know that women did not graduate with a degree from Harvard until 1973? Same as Yale. They went to Radcliffe, they went to Vassar, but there was not a co-educational system. And look at what they've done when those barriers have been broken down, right? Terrific stuff. We can really make a difference. And I'm afraid a lot of this is going to be on you to make some of that happen. Women just have terrific things to offer to the workplace. I think some of the challenge is childcare. So what I would ask you to do as you go out into the workplace is to find better solutions for childcare for women, and that will make a difference. You think about other barriers that were broken down, and were we talking about Jackie Robinson? You know, you just think about that there were no African Americans in the playing baseball. I'm a huge baseball fan, so sorry about all the baseball stories, but you think about where the game is today and where would it be without African Americans. But it is a matter of breaking down those things. And it's not easy. Some of them are more subtle. So it's not just saying, okay, women can go to baseball games. Terrific, we're done. You're not really done, right? And some of it is just understanding your audience and what you can do. So I'll tell you a story. I had a position open. So I'm to promote someone. And I have 2 candidates who applied for the position. I had a man apply for the position, and he came to me and he said, Rachel, I'm ready for this job. And here's what I've done. And he was very well prepared and had all the information laid out for me. And here's what I've done, and I'm ready, and I've earned this, and I deserve it. And then he said, and by the way, if I don't get this job, I'm probably going to have to start looking for another position. Okay? I had a woman come in, equally qualified, different, right? But very qualified. She came to me and she said, Rachel, look at what I've done to earn this job. And these are the successes that I've had. She was very well prepared when she came to the interview, and then she said to me, but if I don't get the job, I'll do whatever you ask me to do. And I know you'll do the right thing and take care of me. I can keep both of them, right? So I'll promote him. I get both of these fantastic people, And Teresa will just be happy and do whatever I ask her to do, right? But it's very interesting to see the different ways that men and women negotiate. And so I thought, wow, somebody needs to tell women about that. Because men do it all the time, and women don't. I have men come to me all the time when we get around October, right? Because we start looking at where we're going to be at year end and what the bonus pools are going to be. And I have men come and tell me all the time, this is exactly what I expect from my bonus. This is what I've done. I hit my numbers. They come very well prepared. They got a great story to tell. I've never had a woman do that. I have men come in and tell me I expect a raise and this is what I expect, and they get it a lot of times, and I've never had a woman do that. So some of it is on us, right? Some of it is on us as managers, some of it is on us as women, just to understand how the workplace works and what other folks are doing and how they manage their bosses and how they manage their pay and their success. So part of the reason that I'm here today is to get some of that word out. You need to be aggressive. You need to be aggressive in your interviews. This is both for men and women. So when I get the chance to talk to you tomorrow, lean in. But it's interesting. I have visibility into a sizable group of people, and I would tell you that the men are paid better. And I think that's they've just been more aggressive in negotiating for it. So, ladies, take care of yourselves. You guys are very quiet. Any thoughts? Questions? Yes, ma'am.
So you're advising women to be a little bit more aggressive. Don't you ever think that it would sometimes be detrimental to be viewed as a little bit overpowering as being a woman?
Yeah. You've got to find your own style, I think. And by the way, you need to be right. So you shouldn't come to one of those meetings and say, hey, give me the raise. These people come into me and they say, I've earned this raise, and here's what I've done. So I don't think it's just a matter of, I'm not telling you that men are coming to me and they're just obnoxious and egotistical. They're not. They're very well prepared. They have done a very good job. They just present it much more confidently, I think, than women do. So you've got to earn it. But I tell women that work for me, you need to stand up for yourself, and you need to. And frankly, sometimes it may not work. So I practice what I preach, right? So I went to my boss, and I said, hey, I checked the market. I don't think I'm paid correctly for my position. I think we ought to take a look at that. And he said, not right now. So it doesn't always work, right? But it's on his mind at this point, and I will remind him. But I think a lot of times women, and maybe not just women, but people in general will sometimes think, well, the corporation will do the right thing. They'll do right by me. And if I produce and I work hard and I do all of those things, ultimately I'll be rewarded. And probably you will over time, but you may not. So I would say don't hesitate. These numbers need to get better. Yes, sir. I like you, by the way. You're paying it. I can see like who's paying attention, and you're engaged.
Do you find that people have to or I guess your employees have to push on promotions like that often, or shouldn't the company be rewarding them? Isn't that sort of part of being a good boss in general?
Yeah. So here's the give and take of it, right? I've got a budget that I have to manage. I've got a lot of people that I have to manage, and you don't want to get lost. So there's some give and take to it, I think. But again, you can sit around, I'm sitting around waiting for my boss to take care of me, and I need to nudge him. Yes, sir.
So you're obviously a huge supporter of diversity in the workplace. I was just wondering if you and/or Bank of America would be in favor of using a form of affirmative action in order to increase diversity in the workplace.
I'm not sure what you mean. To
Use affirmative action to maybe weigh people that are female or have minority candidates a little bit above an average, say, white male, in order to expedite the process of increasing diversity in the workplace.
You know, I think there have been a couple of instances when we've done something like that with the board of directors in particular. So it was like, wow, we've got to get more diversity on our board of directors. We need some women. We need minorities on our board of directors. And so we forced that issue there. I don't know that we would force that issue as much otherwise. So some of this takes time, right? Because there's some great folks that are not women, who are not minorities, that work for the bank. They're terrific, right? And they're going to get opportunities too. So I'm not sure that we would force the issue that way. But I do think it's a matter of, you know, understanding how you need to work and how you need to be in the workplace, what your peers are doing and how they manage that situation, I think is powerful when you come into the workplace. Now, does that answer your question? You're looking like, I don't know. But, you know, again, at the end of the day, I don't know that we need to be that forceful, because the smart people that work for our organization understand the need to be diverse and the economic power of being diverse. So again, we're here to make money, and those who are diverse will make more money. You need to look like the world. We're trying to be more international. We better understand those cultures. We better be able to work within those cultures. And if we're not diverse, we will lose out on that. I think the companies that get there first will absolutely benefit. Yes, ma'am.
My question is, how do you evaluate your staff?
How-
How do you evaluate your staff?
How do I evaluate my staff? Well, we've got numbers, right? So everybody's got to have a revenue number that they make, and they've got an asset quality number that they make, and but that's how you get paid at the end of the year, is did you make your goals? Did you make your numbers? Or did you not make your numbers? Then there's a zillion other things, right, that come into play in terms of who you are and the value that you bring to the organization. Some people are very good at working with younger folks and bringing them up and training them, and they've got a great acumen for doing that. Others are terrific at thinking on their feet and putting deals together and being out in front of clients, and and all those things are valuable. There are people that come with just terrific energy to the business every day. And those vivacious people are important in the organization. And that gets recognized. And I think that really gets recognized when you get promoted. It is recognized when we hire you into the organization. Again, as I talked to a group of students today, I pretty well am not going to hire you if you don't lean in while we have the interview. Just a tip. If you're not physically engaged in what we're talking about, if you are really that bored when you're talking to me, then I probably don't. I need some energy coming in every day, right? I need some passion coming with what you're going to do. And it is infectious to have people like that in the organization. Negativity, not much place for that. So there's all these kind of intangible things that are incredibly important for making an organization work. And we look for those things, and we will look for those things in the interview, and that's who becomes the leaders in the organization. People who have that open mind, people that come in with that energy. The energy is incredibly important. We've got a lot to do, and we've got customers that we need to take care of better than J.P. Morgan Chase. We're selling money, right? It's the same money that J.P. Morgan Chase is selling. So we've got to do it better, faster, more creatively, with more energy than anybody else. So that's what you need to bring. And you will be rewarded. You will be rewarded for that. And if you're really smart and good with numbers, woohoo. God, you guys are so quiet. What else? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so I was in my personal life, I've seen so many women with shared stories, like they started off at the same level with somebody else, and then they have been there for like years. A male counterpart might have gone higher up, and it was more because they couldn't speak up or they were not persuasive enough. So as young professionals for us who are just yet to start our careers, what do you suggest? Like, is it more important to be more aggressive, or is it more important to be more persuasive?
You've got to get noticed. You've got to get noticed. So if you're not getting noticed, that's an issue. And you think, well, surely my boss is just going to take care of me. Sometimes you can't imagine how busy your boss is and how many thousands of things. I mean, we had lunch today, and I left, and I had 78 emails that I have not gotten through since lunch, because there's tons of priorities that are going on all the time. So you need to find a way to stand out. And you can't do it contrary to your personality, right? So you can't come in and be Donald Trump, right? If you're not Donald Trump, you gotta have that ego behind you, or you can't sell it, right? I mean, you've got to come in as yourself, but you've got to find a way to make sure that people know you. You know, it's interesting, and I've got this bum foot, and so I had some surgery several weeks ago, and I was interested because I got some notes from some of the kids that, I'm sorry I say kids, but it's just because I'm old, not because you're kids, that actually sent me thank you notes. And I'm like, wow, I mean, that really stood out to me, right? Because I'm not expecting that. That was a very nice thing for them to do. There's all kinds of ways, and again, it's got to be something that suits your personality. You can't do it another way. Yes, sir.
Last night there was a question that was presented to the Republican candidates. It was what woman would you place on the $10 bill? There was a lot of token responses from the male candidates, and Carly Fiorina responded that she didn't want to put a woman on the $10 bill because she felt like that was making women a special interest group. And your objective to promote women, do you have to be conscientious of that as to make women not feel like a special interest group?
I think you do, but I would tell you for a long time, my approach to it was, you know, it will happen because it just makes so much sense. You know, women are smart, women can be good leaders. It's just going to happen over time. I would tell you I don't think I believe that anymore, and I feel strongly about being more vocal about it. So, you know, I think you got to get a little attention. And I actually pushed the campaign across the bank to have women vote for who should be on when it was the $20 bill. So I'm like, it's about time, ladies. Let's get a woman on the $20 bill. It's time. So she would have a different perspective on that than I do. But I found being quiet is not. I don't get enough done, right? And frankly, I'm practicing what I preach, right? I've sat back quietly for a long time, and I've watched men get ahead of me, or women who were more vocal than I was, waiting for my boss to do the right thing. I didn't watch the Republican debate, by the way. What else? Guys, I'm open for anything. Talk to me about what do you want to do in the interview? Where's the best Mexican restaurant? Yes, sir.
So you kind of mentioned that diversity is one of the
Around diversity in particular? So ask me that again.
So obviously, diversity is a huge issue for banking. I'm asking about whatever issue you think is next in line as next important in banking, and what Bank of America is doing to try to capitalize on that opportunity.
You know, I just think it's bridging the international world. If you don't do that, you will absolutely be left behind. It's where the population is. It's where the resources are. It's where the economies will grow. It's where consumers will spend money, and it's where we need to be. And we've got a lot of work to do to continue to be really effective in places other than the European nations. And it's difficult, right? And it's not going to happen overnight because cultures are so different, laws are so different. But we've got to be focused on what's going on internationally. We've also got to be focused on what's going on with regulation, which is very critical to us. And we've got regulators in watching us, talking to us, giving us direction on a regular basis, and we need to be on good terms with the regulators, really, to be effective, because they pull us away from what we can do, and they've got good reason to, right? I mean, banks screwed up. There's no doubt about it. I'm not going to take full responsibility for it. There's lots to go around, but banks screwed up, and we can't live under that kind of scrutiny, so we've got to get out from under that, really, to be effective for the economies, because we drive a lot of the economy. Yes, sir.
So you spoke that the next place to go is globally, more or less. But so with the volatility in international markets, is Bank of America taking kind of a stance to be partners with emerging markets, or as like a haven? So like the United States, we're pretty stable.
No, we're absolutely moving into those markets. Probably 2 steps forward, 1 step back. It seems to be the dance from what I see, and it is just a big learning process for us. But we absolutely see the opportunity, and so in fact, culturally and investment-wise, we've got huge initiatives in third world countries to help those economies, to bring medicine, to bring clean water, and as part of our entry into those places. So recognize the challenges there and being a part of the solution for the long term. Yes, ma'am.
My question is how Bank of America's attitude to the innovation, the technology, the new things. I mean, the technology, what's that? It really bring a big impact to a lot of industry. And also, credit business is very traditional, commercial banking business. How you generate the new innovations, based on the current trends.
So we've, we're always looking for creative financial solutions, right? And you're right, credit's been around forever. We started the bank in San Francisco, I don't know, 200 years ago, and we were extending credit so that people could buy their homes. So that's a product that banks have had forever. We've got lots of really smart people that are coming up with incredibly innovative products in terms of hedges, and we've got the technology to really be slick about it. The regulators are really on us to make sure that whatever it is, it doesn't get us in trouble, right? Because we got in trouble with some of that stuff. It got so complicated. So there's a lot of oversight to that. But the capabilities are terrific, and the technology has certainly been good. Great investment for us in technology. So in terms of money that's coming back into the business, I told you that we're hiring people, right, because we want to grow the bank, but tremendous amount of reinvestment in technology. I am no technology wizard, right? I don't even know what app to put on my phone, so I can't tell you too much about it, but other than it's $1 billion this year for Bank of America. Yes, sir?
It's kind of running
So again, some of it is we're very cautious about what the regulators will allow us to do and how creative they will allow us to be and how much risk they will allow us to take. And frankly, what our shareholders want us to take in terms of risk too. I do think a lot of it is breaking down barriers, understanding the culture, having the culture understand what they need to do, what the expectations are when they borrow money. They're borrowing, right? This is not a gift. And so it is, there's barriers, I think, and understanding that needs to happen, as well as coming out with some loan products. But the regulators will watch that as well. It doesn't happen easily. It takes time. Some of that stuff will take time. But if there's a need, people are going to work to find solutions. I truly believe that. I mean, we've got very driven people who want to make things happen. And gosh, what a great opportunity for you guys as you come into the workplace and you can do those kinds of things. You understand those cultures better than many of us do, and you can bring those things. As I come back to Mizzou, you can bring those things perhaps back to your country someday. But you got to continue to break down barriers. It's good stuff, though, guys. It's a great place. You can change the world. You move economies, you change people's lives. Who wouldn't love to do what I do? It's terrific.
In fact, the stats say kind of like 99% people, they return without having any collateral. They actually made money. They worked out their business, and they returned the money, and the interest rates were pretty high. And many of the banks actually did not look into the section or actually didn't take this.
It's interesting, and where I know we're coming up on the hour. As I went through and I was in risk management as we went into the recession in 2008 and 2009. And, so we had structured our loans and we had collateral, and I'm on the commercial side of the business, so it was not nearly as difficult as for those in the mortgage world. But as I went through that and I did work out, so I handled the problem loans and I dealt with these people, and there were instances where I was certain that we would lose money, that we would have to charge off money. I found that it wasn't just about the numbers, that it was about the people behind the numbers, that it was about the passion behind the numbers, and it really changed my whole look at the world. I found such integrity and passion from people in doing the right thing, and when we worked together and we got through 2008 and 2009, I have relationships at the bank that will last as long as I am there and as long as they are there. We saved families. We saved people's businesses when we did those kinds of things. And it was more about the people than it was about the current ratio. So interesting. I grow every day in this job as I get to see those things. Things we need to change, but things that have been terrific. So, Dr. Ferris.
Well, thank you for your questions and your dialogue with Rachel today. Before everyone departs, I want to thank those who have provided very valuable assistance for this Vaughn Executive in Residence lecture, including the staff in the Advancement Office, the Academic Support Center, and Recess Inc. Photography. Today's lecture is made possible by an endowment from the Vaughn family, and we are very grateful for their support. Rachel, you have a very busy schedule, 78 emails over lunch is just incredible, but yet you found time to come back and talk with our students and to visit with us. And so we have a plaque we'd like to share with you. It says, Robert J. Trulaske, Senior, College of Business, in appreciation to Rachel Tobin, Vaughn Executive in Residence Lecture, September 17th, 2015.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all for coming, and have a good rest of the day.